Hello and welcome to this FDIintelligence.com broadcast. My name's Courtney Fingar and I'm editor of FDI magazine. We're here to give a little bit of a preview of what to expect in terms of FDI trends as they relate to the MIPIM event and the real estate industry and general global FDI and European trends. I'm joined here with my colleague Damien Borles, who works with me on FDI intelligence, in particular on the data side of the business. Now, among our many activities at MIPIM will be an FDI intelligence breakfast briefing that will take place at the Majestic Hotel the morning of March 9th. And as we do every year at our briefing, we'll be kind of giving a little bit of a preview of our Global Outlook report. We'll give a taster of some of the key trends that we've tracked throughout 2010. Do some forecasting of what to expect for the remainder of this year. We'll highlight some of the hot spots for investment in real estate, but in other sectors as well. And we'll just give a flavor of where the market's at right now in terms of cross-border investment. As he did last year, Damien will join me at this briefing. And he'll be the man with the numbers and presenting the data. Now this data comes from our service FDI Markets, which is a tracking tool for cross-border greenfield investment. Now there's a whole wealth of data in this FDI Markets system, of course, and the difficult thing is picking it all out to give the high points. That's what we'll be doing at this briefing, and then drawing out the data to try to ascertain what trends they point to. We hope that the MIPIM delegates will join us for this briefing, but in the event you can't, and also just to get a taster for what types of things you might find out at our briefing. Got Damien here in the studio with us. He's been already working to run the numbers for us and to prepare the presentation. So I thought maybe, Damien, you could give a little bit of a taster of some of the key trends. We talk about this, of course, a lot in the office, and it's discussed in the magazine. What are the key trends that might be talked about in our Outlook report and presented at our MIPIM briefing?
Well, obviously, we're going to look at the global trends. So we're going to see the number of investments this year, depending on the different sectors. We're going to be at MIPIM, so we're going to have a special focus on the real estate activity. Unfortunately, we're not going to provide very positive figures as the figures continues to fall this year in terms of number of projects. So we're going to see quite a lot of interesting things about the real estate market. We'll obviously look at the best destinations, the best sectors. Obviously, the manufacturer, which is the most important growth this year in terms of number of projects. Yep. And we'll go around this to see the top destination, the change in terms of source country, maybe new location, new countries are starting to host some companies willing to invest. And through the presentation, we'll see maybe how to pick up some of the information for proactive behavior. This is why after the presentation, we'll have a very insightful presentation from a consultant from OCO Global, Laurent Sans Souci. Right. So I hope that it will be a very interesting breakfast briefing and that a lot of our colleagues will attend the event.
Yes, and I think one of the things that we discussed earlier is that one of the trends that we've picked up on this year is the return of manufacturing. Now, while a lot of the investment agencies at MIPIM will be keen to promote things in the real estate, hotels, and tourism sector, I think some of these old sectors or forgotten sectors that kind of became less sexy maybe prior to the economic collapse are actually in resurgence. And even though these locations are there to promote real estate, I think they might be keen to come along and find out how our numbers prove that manufacturing is back.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting to see the return of manufacturing in Europe, especially against the country in Far East Asia. And we're going to be able to see as well that this manufacturing growth lead to some sectors to grow as well. Maybe to show the people in the room that it might be interesting for them to focus on new sectors.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things economic developers are always keen on is to see how their locations rank compared to their competitors. And of course, they'll be shoulder to shoulder with their competitors in the conference hall at MIPIM.
We'll try to be as diplomat as possible.
Do we have any kind of early indications of who some of the star performers might be that will be presented in this presentation?
Well, I can just say that at least in a global view, the top 5 are still the same. So it's not a big change, but we'll see a little bit about a change in other source markets that we'll present during the D-Day.
Right, right. And it's always interesting to compare pre and post recession, and we've done some rankings in the magazine looking, for example, at U.S. states before and after the recession. We've now released the same for Europe, which can be found on FDIintelligence.com, and I think that will flavor as well some of the things that we'll talk about.
Absolutely, the best way for us, to evaluate the performance is to see what happened before, and especially before the crisis, because 2008 stay a year of index for us, so before the crisis. So it's interesting to see the recover, if I can say, this year, and maybe we'll discuss about what can happen in the near future.
Yeah. And speaking of the recession, of course, it was the real estate market, the subject of the MIPIM event, that was the most susceptible to the crisis. Looking at the numbers as you've done at this point, and kind of what we've gone through, trawling through FDI markets, what can you tell us about the performance of FDI in the real estate sector? Well,
I can tell you that since 2008, the numbers have been more than divided by 2 in terms of number of projects. In terms of capex, capital expenditure has been divided by more than 2. The biggest fall was between 2008 and 2009, obviously, but in 2010 the fall continues. So it's still even. I think that 2010 was a recovery year, and 2011 we start to pick up some possible project for next year that we will as well discuss during the presentation at MIPIM.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Damien.
Thank you, Courtney.
And of course, through the bear markets and the bull markets, MIPIM is always a fun and interesting and relevant event, and we look forward to seeing all of you there. FDI Intelligence will be there in force. There will be 7 of us traveling down there. We look forward to meeting the other MIPIM delegates there. And to keep up with our various activities at the show, please stay tuned here on www.fdiintelligence.com. Thank you.